Hey everybody, Brent here from Adirondack Bushcraft and Adventure, and I'm here bouldering in the southern Adirondacks today. This is one of my old haunts, and thought it would be a good opportunity to show you guys some of the knots that I like to use for setting up a camp and setting up your shelter. So I have three criteria for the knots I choose for setting up a camp and setting up a shelter. One, has to be easy to tie. If I can't remember how to tie it, it's not going to do me any good when I'm out in the backcountry. Two, has to fit the application properly. Having a knot that's not going to hold the tension I need or is going to put the tension in the wrong direction isn't going to help me whatsoever. And three, has to be easy to untie. One of the things that drives me absolutely nuts is when you put knots in place and you're trying to strike a camp and you're just not having any luck getting the knots undone, or it's really difficult. It eats up a lot of time, adds to your frustration, and definitely takes away from the enjoyment of the experience. So I only have a handful of knots that I end up using, but they meet all three of these criteria, and they've served me well in almost every situation that I've come across. Okay guys, so the first knot I want to talk about is called the Evenk knot, or sometimes referred to as the Siberian hitch. And this knot's particularly good at attaching your ridgeline to a tree. It's very secure, it's very strong, but it also unties very easily. Okay, so all you do is you take your cord and wrap it around the tree you look to anchor to. Alright, so here you've got your working end. Right, this is the end that's going to take the load, and this is your tag end here. Okay, what you want to do is wrap that tag end around all your fingers. Alright, so it looks like this. Now you're going to want to hang on to this for the next step. Now what I always utilize to kind of remember how to tie this is that you got to go through hell to get to heaven. Right, so while holding this, you point your fingers down to hell and then back up to heaven. Alright, now take that tag end you were hanging on to, put it in between your fingers, and pull a loop or a bite through that opening. Alright, push on it this way to cinch it down, and that's the knot tied. So now all we have to do is slip it to the tree, and as you can see, I can crank on that and that thing is not going anywhere. You'll see this loop here, that indicates that this is a quick release knot. So in order to secure that, what I'll do is I'll take the remainder of the tag end, pop it through that loop, and just leave it. That way you can't untie. Now if you want to untie this, it's super easy. You just undo, right, the fact that you put this tag end through the loop, tug on it until the loop comes out, and it releases. Easy. Okay, the Evenk knot. You've got your rope wrapped around your anchor. This is the working end. This is the tag end. Lay them parallel over the hand. And you wrap the tag end and hold it. Point your fingers down and then up. Thread the rope through the space between your two fingers with a bite and cinch it down. That's the knot tied. Then you can take the tag end and put it through the loop, secure it, and then just pull it to your anchor, and that's the knot. In order to release the knot, pull the tag end through the loop you made, and then give it a tug. Okay guys, the next knot we're going to talk about is called the adjustable knot, sometimes referred to as the collie hitch, adjustable collie hitch. And the nice thing about this knot is you're going to want to use it on the other end from your Evenk knot, right? So if you've used your Evenk knot to secure your ridgeline to the tree, now you're going to want to use this hitch to be able to tension that ridgeline. So what we do is we wrap our cord around the tree as before. Here's your working end, here's your tag end. Now you want to take that tag end and you want to cross underneath your working end, okay? Now, all we do is we're going to give this a few wraps over the working end here, okay? 1, 2, 3. And on the fourth one, we want to go over both, okay? Now you notice I've got this square here that I've created, right? I've kind of held it out. Now what you want to do is you want to take a bite of rope through that square and cinch it down. Okay? And that's the knot tied. Now before I do any cinching with it, I like to go ahead and just pop that tag end through the loop. You'll notice it's a quick release knot again. Right? And now, the cool thing is that, see how I can put tension on this? And if I want to increase the tension on the line, I simply grab the knot and it'll slide and then hold. Okay? If I want to go the other way, it'll do that too. If I want to cinch it to the tree, for example, take up some of that slack, it'll do that as well. Okay guys, so that was really hard to see. So here it is again in close-up. So this is the adjustable knot or the adjustable collie hitch. So this is your working end, this is your tag end, and what you want to do is take your tag end, bring it underneath your working end, then pass it over the working end once, twice, 3 times. Then on the 4th time, come over both the working and the tag end. So you make this square here, okay? Once you've got that, pass a bight of rope up through underneath that square and cinch it down. And that's your knot tied. So now I can grab the knot and slide it, and it'll hold wherever I leave it, okay? Because it's a quick release knot, if I want to undo it, all I have to do is pull on the loop and it comes untied. Now, one of the catches with this knot is the more you tension it, I want you guys to see what happens here. The more you increase the tension on the knot, notice what happens. Now I got this big triangle here, okay? And if I'm suspending a tarp from that for a shelter, that's not necessarily ideal. The more of the line I can have as a single line underneath that tarp, the better actually, because it's going to make it a little bit more consistent to stake out, and it's not going to create sort of a space here where you've got tarp laying in here which can collect water, okay? So when I tie this hitch, I always slide it really close to the tree to start, and then if I got to adjust out, it doesn't get too far out there, okay? But if I'm really concerned about being able to tension it and not have 2 sort of lines or a triangle coming out, that's when I'm going to use the trucker's hitch. Okay, so the trucker's hitch. So this is an alternative to the adjustable knot. I find it really useful because I can put even more tension on the line with the trucker's hitch than I can with the adjustable knot, and it creates a single line, and it's still quick release. Alright, so I'm going to show you how we do it. I'll wrap it around the tree again, okay? Again, we've got our working end here, and this is our tag end, okay? Now the trick is, you're actually going to want to do a twisting turn in the working end, and then actually take a little bight of rope from your anchor, right? So in between the twisting turn you made on your anchor, and run it through there. And that creates a little loop, okay? See that loop right there? Now what you do is you're actually going to take your tag end and you're going to thread it through that loop. Now we've got a little pulley system here. See how that pulls on that? Okay? So I'm creating more and more tension in the line. And when I get to the point where I think the tension is good, I'm actually going to pinch this joint right here. And then all I'm going to do is tie a little half hitch with a loop. And that actually locks it off. Okay? So you can do the same thing where you pass the remaining tag end through the loop to make sure it's secure, but I can put as much tension on this as I want, and the trick is, if I know I'm going to need to put a lot of tension on it, I actually start that loop further down the working end, alright, so further away from the anchor, because that's going to give me more room to be able to crank it down and really get a lot of tension on it, okay? So I'm going to retie it and show you that. Quick release here too, so undo the tag end through the loop, give it a crank, undoes. Right? Nice thing is, on this side, still quick release too. Give it a tug, comes undone. Alright, so again, hard to see, but here's the trucker's hitch again in close-up. So this is my working end, this is my tag end, and step one is to just take a twisting turn in the working end. I like to go clockwise, so you mix a loop here, okay? Take a bight of rope from the anchor side and put it through that loop. Alright, so this is essentially like a slip knot. Now take the tag end, pass it through that loop, and now I've got a pulley where I can crank on this and get lots of tension on it. In order to lock it off, simply pinch at the loop and tie a half hitch. So I come underneath and then take a loop through that hole I made. That way it's quick release. So you see it locks it right off, and if I just want to release the knot, pull through the loop in the half hitch and it comes undone. And then on both sides of that slip knot loop that you tied, tug, and it comes undone. Okay, so let's do that again, but this time I'm going to put that twisting turn way further down the working line, okay? And then I'm going to pop my little bight of rope through there. I can get my manual dexterity going. Today is kind of cold out here for a summer day, high of about 58 and windy. Welcome to mid-June in the Adirondacks. Alright, so I made my little twisting turn with my loop through it. It's essentially a slip knot. Take my tag and pass it through it. And now you can see I can just crank away on this bad boy. Look how much tension I'm getting in that. It's like I could tune a bass. Sounds like an F, maybe. So I can crank this all the way down. I got a lot of tension on here. I can still just pinch off, right? Now I'm just going to tie a little half hitch in here with a bight, right? Crank it against that knot. Boom. Done. Should have cranked it harder. There we go. Still holding the tension pretty good though. And then just pass your extra tag in through that loop. And that's it. That's trucker's hitch. So not only do I use this when I really want to make sure that my ridge line is taut, but this is also a great knot for a gear line, because if you're going to set up a line between two trees just to hang your gear from, you're going to be able to get even more tension on that line, which you'll need because your gear is going to be heavier than your tarp is. Okay? So, again, pull on tag end, loop comes undone, and undone. Thanks for watching part 1 of the knot tutorial video. Stick around for part 2, where I'll show you a couple of additional knots to help you finalize and secure your campsite. Additionally, I'll show you the entire setup with the ridge line and the tarp and the stakeout points, so that you guys can see what my standard setup is when I'm out doing overnights. On behalf of Toby and myself from Adirondack Bushcraft and Adventure, thanks for watching.